It's bad. There are two disclaimers I'm going to give before starting this review. The first is, I know my opinion on this is the minority one. I purposely avoided any reviews before I wrote mine. However, after I wrote mine, I did look up the critical and audience perception of the film, and I realize now that I am in the minority of people who don't like it. I'm perfectly fine with being in the minority. I'm going to explain why I don't like this film, and why I don't think it is worth your time or money, and you can decide for yourself if you want to go anyway. I respect the opinion of people who like the film, and I ask that you respect mine as well. With that being said, the second disclaimer is that this is not my typical recording area. That is because I'm moving stuff around and generally doing some house cleaning. So this will not be the typical shooting location, but for today it is. With all that being said, let's get into Beetlejuice, which is the long-awaited sequel to director Tim Burton's 1980s comedy. This entry sees the return of Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz, Catherine O'Hara as Delia Dietz, and sees the new addition of Jenna Ortega. She plays Astrid Dietz, who is Winona/Lydia's daughter. Atop of this, there is also a string of famous actors in the film who have roles that are a little bit more than cameos, but not much. The general plot of the film follows Lydia, Delia, and Astrid as they return to the haunted house of the first film. While the family is there, the house and the surrounding town of Winter River continue to throw supernatural events their way. And in the meantime, a series of subplots occur that distract from the main idea of the story. From here on out, I will be referring to this film as Beetlejuice 2. This is partially for my own sanity, and partially to avoid redundancy. Do you see what I did there? To summarize my review in one sentence, Beetlejuice 2 is a very bad film in my opinion with a truly awful script. Again, this is my opinion. As of filming this video on September 7th, 2024, I currently think this is the worst film I've seen this year. I don't go to see movies that I don't think I will enjoy. I don't like to bash on things unnecessarily. But that being said, if I expect to like something and end up not liking it, I'm not going to lie and say that I did. I do understand that making a film is a difficult process for any member of the cast or crew involved, and I do respect the hard work and the work ethic put into any major film production or minor film production or student film or short film, however you want to phrase it. This is simply my opinion of the final product and not a criticism of the individuals involved. So why did I find Beetlejuice 2 to be the worst film I've seen this year? Before I get into that, I would like to mention the things this film does quite well. Danny Elfman's score, for instance, is quite good. It's not amazing, but it is quite good. The licensed tracks are used in the appropriate manner and do add to the general atmosphere of the film as well. The entire cast does a good job with characters I find entirely underwritten, and generally they do give very good performances. Special caveat here for Catherine O'Hara and Michael Keaton. They're obviously veterans of their craft and they live in their roles perfectly. Lastly, some of the jokes of Beetlejuice 2 land quite well, mostly due to the grotesque nature of the titular character of Beetlejuice. That, unfortunately, is really it for me. Beetlejuice 2 has a script that is burdened by far too many characters. The various actor pseudo-cameos-ish make every scene feel like a character introduction. Willem Dafoe plays a ghost who was an actor in his former life. You have Justin Theroux and Arthur Conti playing love interest to Winona Ryder and Jenna Ortega, respectively. Danny DeVito is a ghost for one scene. Monica Bellucci is a ghost for approximately 3 scenes. I think I said her name properly, by the way. Bern Gorman plays a priest, and there is also a character that doesn't technically appear on screen, but the character is in the script and does interact with the other characters. It's difficult to describe, and if I were to describe it more directly, it would be spoiler-filled, so I'm not going to get into that. And all of these additional characters are on top of the core cast of 5 already. The gluttony of characters leads to a gluttony of setups, which leads to a gluttony of payoffs in the film's final act. The attempt was to have one massive ending that wraps all of the various subplots up. However, the ending feels entirely hollow. This is due to the fact that the script doesn't allow any actual character development to take place, or small moments with these characters. The script instead replaces that development with gags, cameos that go nowhere, or fan service. The final result is an ending that is devoid of any sort of catharsis and left me feeling rather empty, actually. The worst crime that Beetlejuice 2 committed, in my opinion of course, took me by a complete surprise considering the director was Tim Burton. The film is just boring to look at. While the production design, including the sets, the makeups, the props, and all that does carry the typical Tim Burton flair, the lighting and the color grading make this look very, very dull. In their best moments, they look like a neon sneaker commercial. In their worst moments, they look like a T-Mobile commercial. This aspect truly baffles me. Tim Burton brought a new vision, a new visual vision to Batman that has stuck around for 35 years, and its influence can still be felt in the films, the comics, the TV shows, all of it. The gothic visual language that he pioneered in films like The Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, and Edward Scissorhands is still being lauded and talked about today. How on earth did he make a movie look so dull? Some will say it's because the film is shot on digital, however, I do not buy that argument. Most films today are shot on visual, most look quite good. I do not buy that argument. To add even further context to this, according to IMDb, Beetlejuice 2 was shot on a Sony Cine Alta Venice. I got it out that time. That was about my 5th take trying to say that tongue twister. But that same camera was used on films like Avatar 2, Creed 3, Top Gun Maverick. None of those films looked flat or dull, which to me Beetlejuice 2 manages to do, and I'm not really sure why it looks this way exactly, but it does. The most important saving grace of Beetlejuice 2 is that it's not boring. While the last half hour did have me checking my watch a few times, the majority of the film's runtime manages to go by pretty quick. That still, however, is not enough for me to recommend this film. While Beetlejuice 2 is not the worst movie I have ever seen, and in fact remains pretty far away from that distinction, it is also not a film I enjoyed or a film that I can in any way recommend, mostly due to the script having an overabundance of characters and a ending that really left me feeling empty and wondering what the point of the film was exactly. It does have its humorous moments. If you really love the character of Beetlejuice, you may want to go see it, but I would catch a matinee showing or wait till it comes to streaming. Again, I know my opinion on this film is in the minority. If you personally loved it, I respect your opinion. It just was not for me, and I am voicing my opinion on that matter. Anyway, that's it for me for today. This is Dusty Ohio Video Productions. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you all later. Adios.